I'm not really that worried. I think he's going to do better as the season goes on. If you look at the metrics, he's got a 10% walk rate. That might be the best in the lineup, to be honest.
Yeah.
Welcome back. It's a Fountain Cast. Heard the intro there. We're going to talk a little bit about Hunter Renfroe. Matt, I've decided that I'm going to just clip like the most awkward thing I can find, and I'll just put that in the intro.
All right.
So be on the lookout. We're going to clip this episode.
All right, great. Let's see what we catch me to put in the beginning of a video.
But yeah, like I said, welcome back. Got some big league updates. It's been a couple weeks, I think, since we got together. So more minor league updates as well. The Royals are actually playing right now against the Rays. Noah Cameron hasn't allowed a hit, I think, through 3 innings, right? Right, Matt?
Yep. Yeah.
Are you watching the game? How's he look?
Yeah, I got it up on the phone just in front of me just to stay updated. He's been looking good. He got out of 2 walks with the double play. The umpires kind of giving him a small zone, so he was able to work around it. And I also think Salvador Perez calling a good game for him, and they seem to be making it easy. And Renfroe made a crazy play to keep him, especially early. They couldn't get to him early, but offense gave him some insurance, and he's taking advantage of it. So, to see that.
Renfroe's defense is horrendous, but he robbed a home run, so there's that.
Yep.
Literally a defensive run saved.
Yeah. We'll see if they add it to the stat sheet for the people looking at ESPN.
Yeah, we'll see how long it lasts. But yeah, the Royals are playing now. They're 15-15, third place in the AL Central, but only like 2.5 games back. It's a close race. Even though the
season was over 2 weeks ago. I think.
Right. We were done.
Yeah.
The Tigers are just really good. I think they have the best record in baseball. And I didn't expect them to be that good, but I expected them to be good. So
yeah, they've been impressive.
So third place AL Central. The Royals are actually on a 7-game winning streak. So it's nice to see some winning baseball. And they're in the driver's seat today, up to 2-0. So
especially getting a Vinny home run to start off is nice with the kind of slump he's been in. So they started off with such a brutal schedule. I mean, it was just like getting punched after punch. So they were able to get through that without getting completely knocked out, despite what some people thought. And now
I brought that point up a couple weeks ago. Like, I think they were like 8-8.
Yeah.
We said in March the schedule is tough.
Yeah.
It's contender after contender. If they're 500 at the end of April, they're fine. And look at them. They're 500, right?
Yeah.
So.
And I'm more impressed that they're 500 than I thought I would be, especially because they're on this 7-game win streak. Like, they're bouncing back from – they didn't let that get to them, I think. The whole team was able to bounce back without, changing things too much and all that because of the way they struggled in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk a little bit about the struggles, touch on some news. I mean, the struggles that's the crazy thing. Like, they're 500, 7-game winning streak, and the offense is like the worst in the league. I think the Rockies are a little worse. So it's only up from here with the offense, right? And I don't know if the pitching staff will maintain, but I don't think they'll regress too much from what we've already seen. So
as far as the starters go, they're dealing, and now you got your 6th guy out here who's gone looking good as well, is coming up at his first start. So they got a good group there. We all knew the starters were going to be good. I mean, some people had concerns about like the command to start the year, but that's just the way it goes. I think it's baseball. These guys, they got to come back. It's about consistency, and they get into a rhythm. And especially Seth Lugo in his last outing looked so much more under control than he did in starts prior. That's exactly what I think we were looking for.
Yep. Well, speaking of the starting rotation, we've already talked about it. Noah Cameron called up today to make his big league debut. That's a result of Cole Reagan's. He's working through, I believe it's a groin injury is what we've heard. So I'm happy it's not the arm. He's already had 2 Tommy John surgeries. I don't think anybody's came back from 3. So just thank God it's not an arm issue. But he's not on the IL either. So I think there's some hope that he's back for his next start.
Yeah, I was listening to the start of this game, and weirdly enough, they just brought this up. But Drew Rasmussen had 2 Tommy John surgeries and then another elbow surgery, and he made it back. So
And he's
he
pumping
had
97 today.
he had the 2 in college. So, but yeah, it's good that it's not his elbow. The groin, it'll be okay. It sounds like a strain. He was said he was able to play today, but they thought they'd give him an extra day off. He's your ace, he's your best pitcher. There's no reason to force it. And when you got a guy who's pitching like this in the minor leagues, there's no reason to force him to go out there and do something like that.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the depth that they built up. They didn't have this depth last year, right? So we got to July last year, and I remember we are talking about, damn, these guys are throwing a lot of innings. Are they going to be able like they never have done this before, right? I mean, they were healthy all year pretty much. So 200 innings for Seth Lugo. I think Reagan's was at 200 or close to it. But this year, I mean, if he's going to miss time, I'd rather it be now rather than later in the season. You know?
Yeah. And look, I mean, Marsh hasn't played yet. He's struggling he's got to come back. We just talked about Kyle Wright's going on his rehab starts. You got a lot of depth there, like a lot of good options. And that is what we were saying last year. Like we got the 5. Where's the 6? That's what made them trade for Lorenzen, was they wanted Marsh to be the depth. So
yeah,
he hasn't even played yet. And I think ERA wise, they're the best in baseball. So
yeah. No news on Alec Marsh. I mean, we're just waiting. But Kyle
yeah,
Wright,
he had a setback. I think they said he had a setback, so he hasn't been able to get back out there. But
yeah, but Kyle Wright, like you said, he's heading to Double-A. I think is where they're sending him. He'll be back sometime soon. You know, we'll see how long he's doing that rehab assignment. I think Chris Bubich last year they had him close to the full 30 days. So I think Kyle Wright, you can expect to kind of be on a similar mold.
Yeah.
And then Dyron Blanco, he also started a rehab assignment. He'll be in AAA Omaha this week.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't need to force Kyle Wright up too quick. I mean, the pitching looks good. It's not a rush. If this wasn't like I don't know, you had an outfielder, some guy that's hitting, you need offense. You got a big bat coming up. Maybe I'd be like, yeah, come on. But not yet.
And that's not Dyron Blanco, right? He's just going
to. No, it is not. Unless he gets that crayon back. I don't know where they put the crayon.
Somebody should have never taken it away, I guess.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I don't know what we'll see from Kyle Wright. I mean, I wouldn't be against him eventually coming up and just being a 1-inning reliever like Bubich was last year.
Right.
It might, because he was never consistent. He had one great year and people cling to that, but he wasn't some elite starter for most of his career.
Yeah, he's always had relatively good spin, if I remember right. Like he's able to move the ball pretty well, but he just hasn't been able to stay on the field. So I think reliever role is good for him. If you have good stuff and you can't stay on the field, go pitch out of the bullpen.
Yeah,
typically
it's just more depth. And, you know, someday we won't have to watch Chris Stratton pitch out of the bullpen. Maybe.
I beg. I don't like to hate on people. Like I do my best to be as supportive as I can, and I'm sure Chris Stratton is a very nice man who's had a great MLB career. But I said today that I need to find a woman who's as loyal to me as Brian Sweeney is to Chris Stratton, because it is impressive that he is still on the roster. I thought for sure with Cameron coming up that we had a chance, and then they optioned Bolin again. So, and I don't know what happened to Evan Sisk, but
yeah, I thought he looked fine.
He looked great. I loved the way that sweeper was moving. He was he was so good against lefties specifically. Like he is an automatic out, in my opinion. Like when he was coming out there against lefties, it was like they were hitting like .083 against him in the minors, right? Like that's your guy. We need a guy like that.
Yeah, I'd rather have that as like a lefty specialist than have Chris Stratton in the mop-up role.
Yeah, they're basically like, white flag.
Yeah,
we're done.
Yeah, that's all he is at this point. I was looking it up. Carlos Hernandez. I was just curious how he's doing. He's got 10 innings. His WHIP is 2.10. He's got like an ERA over 7, so he's not doing much better either.
Yeah, I heard a Phillies fan on Twitter the other day say, "Please get Carlos Hernandez off my team," and a bunch of Royals fans were in the comments like, "He's not us anymore. We're clean.
We had our punishment."
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they'll do with Stratton. I mean, you touched on it a little bit. Evan Sisk sent back down to Omaha. We had Jonathan Bolin up for a short time. He went down today for Noah Cameron.
Yeah. I
So
mean, Harvey's going to come back. Marsh will be up. Wright is getting healthy. His days are numbered.
yeah,
I think that there's no way they can
eventually,
keep him much
yeah,
longer.
yeah. I think it's not going to be Noah Cameron taking his role. I
No.
think pretty confidently they'll keep Cameron in the starting role.
Yeah, for
Probably
sure.
back in Omaha, assuming Reagans is healthy. Even if I mean, he's looks fantastic tonight, but they'll send him back down just because you're not going to put him in a bullpen and have one less starter, right?
Yeah, and you can't. None of those starters right now can be replaced. I don't think
Yeah,
you don't have a guy that
exactly.
can.
Yeah,
He can take
which
their
is
spot.
it's a good problem
Good
to have,
problem. Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah. So,
Especially when you have a guy who has 2 elbow surgeries and a couple guys that are pushing 35, like having
yeah,
that extra thing to have.
yep, for sure. Well, we'll just keep our Chris Stratton watch on the side burner here. I
Yeah.
really think. I mean, we'll see more tomorrow. I think because Cameron will have to go down. I assume,
Yeah.
but I think Sisk has to stay down for I think 15 days.
Yeah.
So he's
Yeah.
got to be down there, barring injury. So unless somebody goes on the IL, and maybe that's the solution, right? Maybe Chris Stratton wakes up tomorrow and his back
Yeah.
really hurts really bad, you know?
Yeah. Oh, this cough.
Yeah, yeah. So
No.
to be seen what
Yeah.
happens there. I mean, we talked a lot about the pitching that looks fantastic. It's a 7 game winning streak, but the offense remains pretty poor. We've had some flashes. Vinny hit a home run today, which is going to be, ironic because later on we're going to talk about what we should do with Vinny. But
Yeah.
Michael Massey is still lost. I don't think he's healthy personally. I don't know what's going on. Hunter Renfro's kind of coming around. We'll talk about that. But it's just as a whole, it's kind of Bobby Witt Jr., a little bit of Drew Waters, and the rest is just inconsistent right now.
Yeah, a sheer lack of a lack of consistency is getting frustrating. I think for Royals fans, for the coaching staff, stuff like that. It's like
Mhm.
again, like you said, it's flash in the pan. Like one guy, Salvador Perez, goes off on the doubleheader for like what 4 doubles that day,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
the next day it's like India goes 3 for 4, but then the next 3 days he's 0 for 4. So it's you can't get on the same page.
yeah. And maybe we'll get there eventually. There are some strong performers that we'll touch on. Drew Waters, since he's come up, he's hitting 283. He's got a 333 on base, still striking out like close to 30%. So I'm kind of just, I mean, I'd love to be wrong. I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop, and I don't know if it will, but it doesn't seem like something he can sustain.
Yeah, the strikeouts are concerning. I think that's always kind of been his problem. He swings a lot,
Hmm.
but he's had some walks, and I've been happy. I think everybody should be happy with the way he's played so far. And
Yeah,
obviously, the question is if he can maintain it. Um, but right now, he's hitting. You got to keep him in the lineup. Like I
yeah,
don't think
yeah.
you have
Play him
another
every
guy
day.
that's hitting better
Hmm.
right now. So he's got
Play
to
him every
play.
day. I like that they've been more willing to shuffle out Kyle Isbell this year. The defense is great, but we need more. I like that
Yeah.
they're actually doing that. So
Yeah, I think you got to shuffle. If they're struggling, you got to shuffle anybody if you want to win. You're playing
yeah,
against good teams to start the year. At some point, you just got to like. I like that they move Vinny down. Like you got to show that you're serious when guys are struggling. And I love Vinny.
mhm,
He's a great dude, great player. But at some point, you have to be like, all right, we're serious about winning, and you're struggling right now, so we're gonna let you reset.
mhm.
I'm all for just like moving the lineup around a little bit and make sure hold guys accountable.
Yeah, yeah. Other strong performers, obviously Bobby Witt Jr. He doesn't look like he's missed a step. I mean, he's not hitting for a ton of power yet. I've seen some people talk about how he's been really bad with runners on base. He's not getting pitched to with runners on base. Like, what do you want him to do?
Uh,
Like,
I'm thinking like it's really easy, I guess, to try to criticize Edith just talking about with runners on base. He just drove in a run.
well, there you go.
There you
We'll
go. He
talk
just
about it some more.
drove in Biggio from second as you say that. Um, he it's nitpicking. Bobby Witt Jr. is the
Exactly.
last guy
Yeah.
on this roster you want to nitpick. There's nobody. Why would you be upset with Bobby Witt Jr. right now? What he's getting caught stealing a couple times, like they were going to drive him around the bases
Yeah.
anyway.
Right.
I'm not let him do what he wants. That man can. I don't care if he is swinging at pitches 9 inches out of the strike zone. He hits them. If he's on a 21-game hitting streak, let him do whatever he wants.
Extended that hitting streak today up to 21 games.
Yeah, give him the keys. Like you can't be upset with how he's playing right now. I don't care what he's doing with runners in scoring position. I don't care if he's getting caught stealing. I don't care if he's not walking. He's the best player on the team. He's the best player on the team by a mile. And it's that there's no way you could be upset with what he's doing right now. It's not matched across baseball. There's no guy with the 5 tools skill set like Bobby Witt Jr. has.
Yeah, he leads all shortstops in WAR, to nobody's surprise so far this year. But yeah, I mean, until the guys start to hit around him, he's just not going to get anything to hit with guys on base. And, you know, somebody will make a mistake like today, but more often than not, they're not going to risk it, right?
Yeah.
On the pitching side, Chris Bubich has remained, you know, he's fantastic. 24.7% strikeout rate. His FIP is 2.91. I mean, he's basically the ace B behind Cole Reagans this year, right?
Been incredible. He has been absolutely incredible. I did not. If you've watched Royals games, you've listened to the broadcast, you've heard Hudler rave about his fastball, and it's so serious. Like, I did not expect his fastball to look quite as good as it has been. The shape of it is better than it was well before he got injured. Yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't bring back the basic curveball. They're sticking to a sweeper slider, but it's working. He's been really effective, especially with that pitch. So,
yeah, I do wonder if because I mean, eventually there's going to be more tape, so to say, on him and in the starter role again. I wonder if as the league starts to adjust, then they think about re-implementing that curveball some.
Yeah, but right now what he's doing is working.
No need to change it until you need to, right?
Yeah, somebody's got to hit off him, when you have a 24.7 K percentage, it's dude, it's like Bobby Witt Jr. Do what you want. We don't need to don't fix something that's not broke.
Yeah, he's not an issue. And then Seth Lugo, I mean, he hasn't been as dominant to start the year. We had some command issues, like you talked about earlier. His K percentage is down like 2%, but his last start, like you said, I think he went 7 innings, right?
Yeah, 7.2, and then Ursig took over.
Almost 8 innings. Yeah, he looked fantastic. So if he can start to settle in, I mean, the pitching's already been outstanding. If he gets back on track, like, you're just getting that much better.
Yeah, you can be disappointed when the pitchers give up 4 runs, but you got to score 4 runs at some point. Like, it's he didn't do that. He was able to pound the zone, and not only do that, but he's moving the ball, and he just clearly looks confident, settled in. Like, that's what it was last game that he played. It was a much better performance. It just looked better, like he was ready to go.
Yep. It'd be nice if some of the lineup can, you know, do some of that and settle in. One guy that is kind of settling in a little bit, Hunter Renfroe. Last 6 games entering today, he's sitting 313. There's no power to speak of, slugging 375. But, I mean, there's signs of life, at least. Yeah. He's 0 for 2 today, but he had that, you know, home run robbery earlier on. So he's kind of settling in. We talked a couple weeks ago. You know, you heard it in the intro. I think the metrics have always, like, he's been making good plate approaches. He wasn't striking out a ton. He was taking his walks. He was making contact. So, like, the metrics showed, like, maybe something would turn around. It's slowly starting to get there, but how long do you think it lasts? Is that something we can expect to be a lengthy turnaround, or is it just a short, you know, quick week of success?
I mean, here's my thing. Who are you going to play instead of it? Like, who are you going to sit him for? Because Jonathan India is cool, but Jonathan India is not hitting very well either. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned to start the year that I have some concerns about that. You know, he's going to be in a leadoff role, hitting in front of maybe the best player in baseball, the best hitter at least. If Aaron Judge isn't hitting with the torpedo bats, whatever. You know, it's Bobby Witt Jr. is one of the best players in the league. Teams aren't going to just walk him to get to Spencer Steer or whoever's hitting to. I guess it was De La Cruz. Like, I mean, De La Cruz is scary, but he's not Bobby Witt Jr. as far as I'm concerned. So teams aren't just going to walk him. Like, they've been going at him. They've been making him earn his ability to get on base. And he struggled some. It's not the end of the world that he struggled some, but they have him playing left. Melendez got optioned. You want to play Drew Waters every day, but Waters is mostly going to play in left and center. Who are you going to play instead of Renfroe in right field? Right, Kevin Biggio? go ahead. Like you can be upset about it, but he is right now. He's your best option. He's not the best fielder, but he's probably the best bat that you can put in right field at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, there's Drew Waters. You put him in right, but then you're putting Kyle Isbell back in center, and he's not hitting for shit right now. So
yeah, and then again, like India is going to be in left, and or you'll put Biggio out there, and India's defense in left has. If you're upset about Hunter Renfro's defense in right, you're not going to love what you've seen from India's defense in left, and they're not playing India at second base, so.
Yeah, so weird, right? He hasn't played there a single time this season.
Yeah, it's beginning to annoy me. I heard that the Royals like the range that they get from Michael Garcia at second base, and they think that India's arm is good enough at third. And I suppose, but I want the defense of Michael Garcia at third. And if some balls get through at second base, it is what it is to me. Maybe they want the chemistry or whatever with Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt just makes plays. I think he'll be okay with anybody. Massey was supposed to be the everyday guy, which I think is why they planned on that. But unfortunately, my pick earlier before the season of Michael Massey maybe being the disappointing players started to become a little too real. And again, it could be he's not healthy. It could be a variety of things, but he's really struggled to start the year to really put the ball in play the way that a lot of people were hoping. But I want to see India play second base. Anyway,
yeah. Well, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with the prediction, right? Probably more than you wanted to, but
yeah, definitely.
I don't know if he's healthy, like I said. I mean, that's kind of a good segue into our last bit on the major league team here. Talk about one move. If you could make one move, what's your move to get some life into the offense, right? So, we're talking about Michael Massey, so I'll start first. They called up Nick Lofton, played him 0 times. He didn't play a single time. I don't know at one point Michael Massey goes on the IL. I don't know what point you start to think about, well, maybe we need to option him to Omaha because he was great last year.
Yeah.
So I don't know where it all went, but I think I liked what Nick Lofton offered as far as like on base ability. I'd rather have him in a leadoff role if he's going to walk like that and make the contact he is. So for me, I know, put your best hitter number 2. Bobby Witt's comfortable at number 2. So, I mean, maybe you don't move him. But I think somebody like Nick Lofton hitting leadoff would be, just one more spark that the offense needs. Bobby Witt Jr. is doing fine. We just need somebody on base ahead of him, and Jonathan India hasn't done it enough. So I don't know what you do with Massey in that situation, but I think Nick Lofton and leadoff would be something I'd like to see anyway.
I think realistically, if they're not going to play India at second base, which right now there's no evidence that they're going to even try to play India at second base through 30 games, which is a relatively good sample size to determine if they're going to do that. Nick Lofton right now, as far with the way Michael Massey's been playing, is the best second baseman that you have in the organization. There's no reason he should be in the minor leagues. Right?
What else is he going to prove?
Right. And is, again, Kevin Biggio instead, like, you want a utility man, Nick Lofton. Like he's played first, he's played second, he's played outfield, he's played third. It's like I don't know. I'm not particularly upset with Kevin Biggio's ability to play all over. But gotta find it. I feel like you have to find a spot for Nick Lofton, and he may be successful in the leadoff spot. I don't know that I'd plug him in there immediately after calling him up. Like I feel like that's a make him earn it type of thing. Like India's proven he can be a leadoff guy, and Lofton in the leadoff spot last year was not super pretty, but he's made some changes. Somebody's got to get on base in front of Witt. So if his walks continue, if he's hitting like 7-hole, 8-hole, and he's still walking, then I'd be like, yeah, go ahead, move him up. He earned it. Like you said.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, that's a good point. Start him in like the 9-hole, and as the game goes on, he's still going to get on base ahead of Bobby Witt Jr. Right.
Right. Like
and then if he shows that he can be successful, then move him up. Yeah, I think that's where I'd go.
Yeah, because I said 30 games is a good sample size. I still want to see India continue to build on that. And even if he doesn't, I think it's okay. But Nick Lofton could be a potential move up there that's an improvement. And somebody has to get on base in front of the guy who's hitting 21 straight games. Somebody has to be there for him to drive in. So if Lofton could do that, he should do that, and he should be up. He should not be in the minor leagues right now. So
yeah, I mean, I was talking about Jonathan India. I mean, he's still getting on base at 330. So I mean, that's still a good clip. Makes it feel better than his 216 batting average. But if it dips or doesn't get better, I just hope the Royals aren't in this situation where, well, we traded Brady Singer for a leadoff man. I'm just going to leave him at leadoff. Like, he's doing fine now with on base, but if that dips, I just hope they're willing to shuffle things around.
And this is gonna sound stupid, and people can feel free to clown me in the comments as much as they want, but it doesn't feel like it's 330.
Exactly. I looked it up and I was a little surprised.
Like, I wouldn't have said over 300 if I had to guess. It just doesn't feel that. I don't know why it doesn't feel that way. And baseball's all about the metrics. I get it. And gut feel isn't always the best thing. And you can be upset about that all you want. It doesn't feel like it's 330. It doesn't feel like Bobby Witt's ever hitting with somebody on base. I don't know if it's happening where he's walking with 2 outs, or if he's walking when we're losing by a bunch or something like that. I don't know. I can't explain it, but it doesn't feel like he's getting on when we need him to get on as much as we hoped.
Yeah, and still time for that to improve. We'll see. I think he had a hit today. He's 1 for 2, but
yeah. Yep.
Like you said, I think you just got to find a place for Nick Lofton. They called him up and he didn't even play, but there's nothing else to see in Omaha. Give him a chance or just move on.
Yeah, you either got to trade him or call him up. It is, like you said, nothing more to prove. And not only that, but he's got to be better than somebody on the roster right now. He has to be. It was like when they called up Drew Waters. Yeah. They were basically like, Drew Waters has got to be better than MJ Melendez right now. He just has to be. There's no way you can be worse than MJ Melendez. I'm sorry, but you can't be much worse than Michael Massey and Kevin Biggio have been so far. I don't think Nick Lofton can play worse than them at second base at the moment. So give him a shot. Before Vinny hit the home run, I said move him to DH, give him a break, maybe move him down in the lineup. Just take some pressure off him. We know Vinny's good. He's a really skilled player, tons of power. He's what we want in the 3-hole. We want him behind Bobby Witt Jr. I completely agree with that, but give him a chance to reset a little bit, because he's good, but he's just I think it feels mental, like he's just not there.
I can see that. Yeah,
and also let Freddie play. Let Freddie play. I'm all about Freddie. I wrote something about him with Farm to Fountains just last off season. Let Freddie play. He might be the best backup catcher in baseball. He's impressive.
If he's not, there's not very many ahead of him. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, he's incredible. Probably better than Salvador Perez behind the plate defensively, if not definitely. And
I think so at this point.
He's hitting well. He single-handedly won us that Rockies game that went to extra innings by back picking that dude and then getting the walk-off hit, then proceeded to get back picked the next game, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Freddie is, like, if you look at his slash line, it's not as good as last year, but he hasn't played a ton. But it just feels like he's clutch. Every time you need something, he comes through, it feels like.
See, it's the opposite of India. It's like with Freddie Fermin, it's like it feels like he's hitting better than he is. Like when there's someone on base, Freddie's hitting, and with India, it just feels like it's not. But that's not to say that they should swap the two in the lineup. But it just feels like Freddie, when he's out there, the offense is better.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I don't know what needs to happen with Vinny. Maybe nothing. He hit a home run today, like we said, but.
Yeah, it feels mental, and he's played enough baseball that he'll bounce back. I have no concern that he'll be okay eventually. I just think that, moving him to DH, make him not focus too much on fielding, let him just focus on his at-bats, or move him down, take some pressure off him, could help him get that reset that he needs.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, we'll continue to keep tabs on the game. Noah Cameron's through 5, and he still looks good. He hasn't allowed a hit. He probably will now that I jinxed it, but
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
good.
you mentioned Jonathan India's hit, and it was a funny one. It like bounced off third base, flying in the air. He got his hit because the third baseman was there. It pops up like a mile high, and they couldn't do anything about it. That's how Bobby Witt drove Kevin Biggio in. So
I see.
and Garcia just hit a double. So
Maybe.
offense is alive. It's
3
alive.
runs so far.
We're talking about the inept offense, and they're coming alive.
Yeah.
It's
We need to
classic.
do this more often, I guess.
Yeah, I know. We talked about Kyle Isbell the last time, and the very next game he nuked one like 400, and we were all like, "Come on, man!" Like,
Yeah.
it's
We'll keep our reverse jinx alive. I'm not going to
yeah,
complain about it.
yeah,
Let's move a little bit into the minor leagues to wrap up. A little bit of news here as well. Steven Zobak, he only made 2 starts for Northwest Arkansas. He's on the injured list, dealing with some inflammation in his knee. I'm told he's going to start throwing soon, so it's nothing serious. He'll be back. Tyson Guerrero, I don't know what the injury was, but he's on the full season injured list. This is such a bummer. I think he was in that relief conversation if the need was there. He looked good, in my opinion, but he'll miss the rest of the year. And then Peyton Wilson promoted to AAA Omaha, one of the hottest hitters in the whole minor league so far this year. So it's nice to see him
smacking the
finally get
ball.
out of there.
Yeah,
And that's just another piece of that second base puzzle, right? He's not
yeah,
on the 40 man, so you need to move. But I mean, the guys that are on the 40 man in Omaha, they don't seem to be too keen to give a chance. So
yeah. I mean, it's. I guess like Tyler Tolbert put him in second.
yeah,
I don't know the second base conundrum. You have so many guys that can play second base, and somehow all of them are not good at second base right now. It's just,
yeah. I don't know, man. Like
I don't get it.
I get told over and over, like, well, Dyron Blanco, Tyler Tolbert, they pinch run for these slow guys late in the game. No, they don't. They don't fucking do that because the
Yeah.
slow guys aren't on base.
Uh-huh.
Like they're
Yeah.
not. It's
Yeah.
such a waste of a roster spot, in my opinion. I'd rather have a Nick Lofton, somebody that you can actually cycle through the lineup.
Yeah, who can play anywhere. And
Yeah,
uh yeah, would have been nice, but they think
we'll see.
differently. As you
Yeah,
say that Renfro and Waters both struck out with runners on second and third. So there we go. The outfield's on
yeah.
fire.
Back to normal, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, let's move
I
into
had to
the.
be humbled.
Yeah, yeah. We'll move into the affiliates. For each minor league affiliate, we just picked one guy to point out and kind of to spotlight, so to speak. So Omaha, they're 10 and 16 on the year. They've really struggled. 10 games back in the International League. So I mean, they're struggling offensively as well, which doesn't help the Royals, right?
Yeah, brutal.
But who's your guy from Omaha that you want to spotlight?
Andrew Hoffman. If you have watched baseball for Omaha, Andrew Hoffman appears in at least half the games, it feels like, and he is out there and he's gonna strike someone out every time he comes out. His stuff is ridiculous. I saw a metric that I don't remember where. I'd give him credit if I could. Um, the ranking the minor league pitchers stuff just across the league, and Hoffman was like fourth.
Yeah.
He is
Mhm.
wicked moving lateral stuff. It's impressive. Makes life really, really hard on a hitter. And he has 23 strikeouts through 14 and 2/3 innings. So that is an absurd stat line. Only 2.45 ERA. The issue with him has always been command. He's a big guy. He's 6'5", pushing 6'6". I think he's like 240, 250.
Mhm.
But he knows how to move that ball. If he's commanding it well, he could be one of the better relievers in the Royals organization. And he's been hot to start the year. First 26 games, he's looking good. So
Yeah. I
got me
mean, I
excited.
could be wrong. I don't think he's walking guys either. I think he's done pretty well there this year.
Yeah, I
But
don't
he went
think
to
so.
he went to Driveline in the offseason. His changeup is completely different.
Yeah,
And I think that different changeup has made his fastball better. It's made his secondaries around it better. And
especially when you're throwing from that high arm slot because he's tall.
yeah, yeah. And he's only pitching in relief this year. They're not having him start. So I
Good.
think that's a better role for him. And I mean, he's a guy I think he, especially without Tyson Guerrero, I mean, he's kind of your break glass if you need a reliever, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he and Sisk are probably Sisk and Bolin, I guess, are the next three up. Like,
Yeah. Yep. Well, I had Dustin Dickerson. He's really the only hot hitter in Omaha right now, other than Nick Lofton, who's back there now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only been in Omaha a couple weeks. He was kind of like a senior signing in the 2023 draft, kind of just like a money saving move. But I mean,
Yeah.
he looked really strong with Quad Cities. He looked fine with Northwest Arkansas, but I mean, in Omaha, 10 games in, he's slashing 353, 439, 412. Not a whole lot of power. Omaha is really, it's a really good hitter environment, which you wouldn't
Mhm.
think looking at the lineup right now. But the park factor is great for hitters. So, I mean, that production isn't going to translate, but I think he's at least a guy to start taking notice because he's just outperforming at each level compared to what we expect.
Yeah, he's doing well, and he's been filling in for Davini, who's missed a couple games.
Yeah. Hmm.
Davini was raking before him, so got a couple shortstops there that are looking pretty good. So
Yeah.
good to see.
Yep. On to Northwest Arkansas. They're doing a little better, 12-9 on the season,
Yeah,
2 games back in the Texas League. I'll start here. I'll just bring up Henry Williams. We acquired him in the Scott Barlow trade at one point. He was a guy like he had Tommy John, I think. So in the Padres system, he was this high ceiling draftee, but then he got injured, and the Royals said, "Well, we'll take a chance." He looks good. 2.25 ERA on the year, 14 strikeouts, only 2 walks in his last 2 starts. Sorry, 2.25 ERA in his last 2 starts, not on the year. But he's been great all season. He looks good. His stuff looks good, and he's starting in that rotation in Northwest Arkansas. So still, I think only 22, maybe 23. So just
yeah,
more pitching depth, right? The Royals it's so much. It's nuts.
yeah. It is incredibly impressive, and he's pounding the zone. 14 strikeouts over 2 walks is nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, 7 strikeout over walk rate that's absurd. So he's definitely a guy to keep an eye on. Um, I put in Peyton Wilson. That felt like the obvious one. Everybody keep an eye on Peyton Wilson. He's been
Yeah.
kind of low in the farm system. Like as far as ratings, like low 30, 25, 30 range
Hmm.
for a while. Had a bit of a step back last season, but the kid is belting the baseball right now. Uh, 1.194 OPS right now with a 392 average with 8 stolen bases as well. The kid can move, he can run.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah. I
over
like
74 at
Wilson. I
bats.
had I had him like fifth at one point in the system, but that was after I think at the end of
Yeah.
2023, he
Yeah.
was like playing center field full time. I was
Right.
like plus speed, playing center all the time, hitting for power, and he just kind of the profile
Yeah.
changed.
He kind of reminds me of like Michael Massey from the opposite side, though, like a right, because he comes with that power. He has that compact build. He's not Massey's slower, but that compact short power at second base is nice. He's got some speed. The bat to ball skills weren't really there last season.
Yeah.
I feel like the hit
Yeah.
tool wasn't as good as it should be, but this year he's really been able to work the count, hit the ball well. 29 hits and 74 at bats is a really good number. So,
Yeah.
and that's a pretty solid sample size as well. That's not you're not looking at bum sample size. The guy is actually hitting.
Yeah. Yeah. He plays left field also. So he's another one of those guys right now that's not on the 40 man, but maybe he finds his way on there. Who knows?
Yeah, watch out if we keep struggling. It could be anybody's up for grabs.
Yeah. Well, on to Quad Cities. They're 15-6. They're in first place. They have the best pitching staff probably in minor league baseball right now. Not even high A. Like they're dominant.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and just typed your guy in because I knew
Oh
that's who we were
yeah.
going to talk
Oh
about. So
yeah. My
I'll let you
guy.
go ahead.
Yeah, Drew Beam is my guy. Drew Beam is my guy in the minor leagues. He is my highest rated pitcher in the minor leagues, which has been probably hot take all offseason for most people. I love what he has to offer. When he was coming into the draft, there were reviews from people saying he's the most MLB ready pitcher. It didn't just feel like he was MLB ready. He has good stuff too. That fastball was getting up well above 95, 97 at times. I mean, he's throwing heat. He has good off speed stuff. He's able to work it well, commands the ball well. 1.59 ERA with 16 strikeouts and 4 walks in his last 3 starts. He is incredible. His skill set is just it's so unique. that you have a kid that just comes out of college and feels this ready to play. I tweeted during his first start, I was so excited. I was like, Drew Beams threw 3 innings and they can't get to him. And then at this
then he fell apart.
4th inning started, and then he couldn't get through the second part of the lineup. But he learned after that start, he's been incredible. So the stuff is better than I think even I expected at times, and he's really consistent, pounding the strike zone, doing everything that I want to see from a starting pitcher in the minor leagues. I love him. I love Drew Beam, one of my top prospects. We continue to talk about the pitching depth in this organization. That guy could be ready as soon as next season, or at least close to it, similar to like Noah Cameron right now, where it's like, come on, we got to find a reason to put you up here, but we can't put you up here yet. But
I was a little
really good.
I was surprised a bit last year when he didn't pitch at all after the draft.
Yeah.
But I think, at least my perspective, he kind of entered the system as a high floor guy. I think they just took the time to say, okay, what small things can we tweak to raise the ceiling? I mean, like you said, he was touching 98 a couple starts ago. So if he can
looks better.
Yeah, if he can sit 96 to 98 instead of 93 to 95, like that's just a whole.
That's nuts.
Speed, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with how he knows how to use the off-speed stuff. It's not like the thing that probably pushed him to the 3rd round is that he didn't have dominating stuff. It's not like insane spin, not insane movement, but he's a starter. Like he's a solid fastball, work from there type of guy. He'll force contact. He's got 14 strikeouts or 16 strikeouts in his last 3 games. So like he is striking guys out. It is just high A. I thought he could have played in Double-A to start the year, but Double-A also has a pretty good pitching staff right now, so it's tough to move any of those guys down.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's so much depth that it's kind of just like there's guys that need to move. I feel like that can't because the guys ahead of them need to move but can't. So it's a good place to be, I think. Another guy I'll bring up on that pitching staff, Logan Martin. He's an older prospect, still in high A. So I think that's why maybe he doesn't get as much attention. But he was outstanding last year for Columbia. This year, he looks even better. The last 2 starts, he's got a .82 ERA, 11 strikeouts, 3 walks. It's been solid all year. I mean, the stuff, it's not like Drew Beam level. It's more like a sixth starter, maybe, swingman type stuff. But he just, he's 93 with the fastball. No, he was like a late round, like 12th, 13th round. So he's a guy that I think he just doesn't really get any thought. But I could see him pitching in the bullpen next season, to be honest.
Yeah.
They won't need it because they have so much depth, but I think he could be on that timeline if there was a need.
It feels like a lot of these pitchers like Hoffman, Williams, Martin, hopefully not Beam, but maybe Beam, another pitcher you might mention, like these guys they're young, they're skilled, and they could be trade pieces because the Royals are going to need to add offense. At some point, we're going to get to the trade deadline and we're going to go, what hitters are available? And these pitchers are going to hold some value. They boosted their stock significantly. This offseason, it was like, who are the Royals going to trade? Because people want major league ready guys. Well, now we're going to get to a point where the Rockies are struggling and maybe we need an outfielder. Brenton Doyle might be available. You go and look at other teams that are struggling. You just go look for an outfielder. You go look for maybe a second baseman, third baseman, something like that. You got pitchers that you can deal to teams if they're struggling that have potential to be major league guys. So,
I mean, Andrew Hoffman's not going to bring you an elite return, but he's big league ready right now.
He's something, yeah.
If you want to do it, I mean, if the return is what it should be, I'll trade Steven Zobak or Luinder Avila, even Drew Beam. To be honest, if you're going to get a return,
no, for sure.
Hate to see him go, but that's where the pitching is. They just need to capitalize on it.
Yeah, if a team is insisting on Drew Beam, you give up Drew Beam. I think if it gets you a really good hitter, the way that the Royals need a really good hitter, that's what you have to do. I would be sad because I love Drew Beam. I would be sad if they got rid of other guys that I really like. But at the end of the day, they need major league talent, and if they continue at the rate that they're going right now, they're gonna be really fun. And they'll need to add some hitting. Isbell just laid down a beautiful blunt.
Oh, good. He did something.
Blunt master. Yeah, he got a hit.
He's got 2 hits, man. Every time we record, he does something, but in between, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, we're not going to say what Noah Cameron's doing, but Noah Cameron's doing some fun things.
Yeah, I got to quit talking about it.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll wrap up with Columbia. 14-8. They're also in first place. So Quad Cities, Columbia, both in first place. I'll go first here. Mason Miller. Not that one that pitches for the Athletics, but, I think he was a 14th round pick in 2023. He looks good. Like his arm slot, he's got a low arm slot, kind of like Evan Sisk. He's throwing like 92, kind of like an Evan Sisk. Upper 70s breaker, like mid 80s slider. But, last 4 appearances, hasn't allowed a run. He's got 11 straight innings, no runs allowed. 18 strikeouts, 3 walks out of the bullpen. I think he had a 3-inning save yesterday. Had 7 strikeouts, no walks. So super low A, right? Older prospect in low A. I don't know if it's going to translate, but he's at least a guy that, he kind of stands out. Kind of like Walter Pennington did at one point when he was in Quad Cities at one point.
Yeah, he just got DFA'd, I think.
Gives me. Yeah,
Orioles just picked him up.
Yeah, but he gave you Michael Lorenzen, so.
Yeah. Yes. Piccolo win.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the 11 innings pitched, no earned runs, and 18 strikeouts is incredible. So very nice to see from him. It's always cool when you got guys that are striking people out like that. 18 strikeouts over 3 base on balls. It's similar to, like you were saying with Henry Williams. That's an absurd number to just like put over top of each other. That's a really good ratio, pounding the zone. I said Espo Gonzalez. I had to. He stole 29 bases.
Yeah. I think he will get close to 150 at this rate.
It's that's insane. That's unbelievable. And his on-base percentage is 500, which that was not what I was expecting. So I was going through this and looking at guys I wanted to include, and I was like, Espo Gonzalez is a fun one. I saw that he's stolen a bunch of bases. I did not realize he's gotten on base 500. That's a really good number for a kid who, like, we all know that he's a great fielder. Obviously, we now know what he provides on the bases. I mean, at this rate, if Tyler Tolbert's up, call this kid up. He's got to be like, not really. Don't actually do that. But 500 on base percentage, OPS 913 for a kid that, like we were all saying, the bat just needs to come around. That's really what it is. Develop the hitting. He's hitting, and he's stealing bases, and he's playing great in the field. Really impressive. Really impressive from him.
Yeah, I mean, the contact is really impressive. He's not striking out. I think he's hitting like close to 400 if he's not there already. So.
Yeah, I think I saw like 370, 380, maybe something like that.
Somewhere up there, yeah.
And another,
I think
another
he's like
thing
in the
came to my
25
mind.
range. He's going to move up.
Yeah, another thing came to my mind when you were talking about Mason Miller. Our guy that we interviewed the other day, AJ Causey, has been pitching really well recently with lots of strikeouts with that low arm slot, like you were saying with him and Sisk.
He's pitching with Drew Beam. They're both in Quad Cities. I don't think Causey's allowed to run in his pro career yet.
No, he's been impressive. That breaking ball is sick.
Yeah,
that thing's cool. Any baseball fan should watch that and be like, "Ooh, like, what?" So he's that was a little random. I just thought of him because he's a cool interview, really cool guy, but also really cool baseball player, fun to watch. So lots of fun happening in the minor leagues. I think the Royals got a lot of very interesting things happening, which is surprising to say after, we went into this offseason saying we have one of the weakest minor league systems out there, and it feels like it's rapidly getting better.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
still probably in like the 20 range, but they're definitely not 29, 30 like they were.
No, and they got 2 first-round picks. Draft's coming, so.
Yeah. Well, we'll touch on the draft before too long, maybe next episode.
Yeah.
But that'll do it for us today. If you're not watching the Royals game, by the time you listen to this, it'll probably be over. But Noah Cameron looks really good, man. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with that, give us a rating, drop your thoughts, give us a comment. We'll be back. We'll hope for maybe next week or maybe 2 weeks.
I'm gonna say really quick. because we haven't done this yet. Hats off to the Chiefs for killing the draft.
That draft
I
was
love the
good.
draft. I love the draft. I follow the NFL draft. It's my like Christmas weekend. I have never been so excited as when we stole Howie Roseman's lunch money and then still managed to get the tackle I wanted. Super cool. They were able to get guys that fit the scheme, good value. Loved the draft for Kansas City. So any Chiefs fans out there, they killed it. And
It looks good. What's your? I gotta ask, and then we'll wrap up. What's your take on the whole Sanders fiasco and him falling?
I had a 5th round grade on him. I swear I did. I swear I did. I have a Google sheet. I have not touched it. I had a 5th round grade on him, and I told people I have a TikTok. I have a TikTok where I post NFL draft stuff, and I have been saying all offseason that he is not a first-round quarterback. I don't think he's a first-round quarterback. The Nebraska film was disgusting. Watching him play against Nebraska was a miserable experience. I think he has the potential to be a quarterback, a good quarterback in the NFL. I think he can be a starting quarterback, even on a winning team. But he's not a starter. And like I think you heard from Rappaport and Schefter, if you're not going to draft a starter, you are going to draft a backup. And do you want your backup to be the most newsworthy person on your roster? Because he's going to get a lot of attention. That's like a tough decision for teams. And so I typically kind of grade quarterbacks as like, if you're a starter, you get a 1st round grade. Outside of that, you're a day 3 prospect. So that's what I had for Sanders. That's what I had for a lot of guys.
Yeah, I mean, his competition, like he had a good stats in college, but his competition was not great.
And this year's quarterback class was awful. Next year's quarterback class is insane. So it's like, teams are like, we can wait. We got plenty of guys coming next season.
Yeah, I know. I saw people make it about race or make it political, but the dude's like, I think there's just as likely a chance that he's the next like Johnny Manziel as there is that he becomes a starting quarterback. To be honest.
I made a video about it, just talking about it the right after the day 2, and I also saw that like I think there was some like media stuff like teams don't want their backup quarterback getting that much attention. I don't think it had anything to do with race. The NFL has plenty of racism problems from like ownership and GM and coaching issues. But that's not what affected Shitter Sanders. I mean, the top quarterbacks in the league are African-American QBs, from Mahomes to Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, CJ Stroud. You can go on and on. So,
yeah, but all those guys you just named, they don't have a Hall of Fame dad who's just going to be a headache all the time. That's it, pretty much.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. Oh, Cameron gave up his first hit. Tough. Hey,
that's so
6 scoreless. 6 scoreless. Very cool. 6 hitless innings, I should say, but really cool for him. Good work.
Yeah. You'll love to see it. Well, that'll do it for us. I said, drop a rating, drop a comment. We'll shoot to be back in a couple of weeks, maybe with some draft content. We'll plan that out. But yeah, until next time, thanks for hopping on. It's the Fountain Cast.